Dogs are a man's best friend. Dogs are smart, loyal, and caring. But they're not the only animals that have won the hearts of their owners. The world is full of wonderful, unusual friendships between man and beast. Are you ready to meet these wonderful pairings? Let's get started. Sambaths python. Scientists say reptiles lack the brain size and emotions to recognize and bond with their human owners. If you tell that to 12-year-old Cambodian Sambath, he wouldn't agree with you. For the past 11 years, he has been friends with his pet snake, a 16-foot-long python named Chamroeun. When Sambath's mother was pregnant, she dreamed that a snake would protect her unborn child. When Sambath was born, she found Chamroeun coiled up in a tiny pile the size of a thumb under her son's bed. She tried to set the snake free in a bush alongside a nearby river, but 2 weeks later, the snake came back to Sambath's room. Sambath's mother said it was a sign that the snake was a magical spirit, and she decided the snake could stay. Now, every time Sambath goes to sleep, he sleeps peacefully nestled in the 12-inch thick coils of his python pal. Man, I wish I had a pet snake. Pet caiman. You should never smile at a crocodile. Japanese native Nabamitsu Murayashi never got that message because he bought a cute baby caiman in a street market 34 years ago. He never anticipated that his new pet would grow to almost 7 feet in length and over 100 pounds in weight. To keep the pet caiman, he had to get permission from the local government. He admits he loves the pet more than his wife. Nabamitsu still had to name his pet. Needless to say, it was the most obvious and least imaginative choice, caiman. Nabamitsu loves nothing more than to brush caiman's teeth. Caiman may look scary, but he actually is just like a dog. Nabamitsu likes to take him for long walks as if he is a real dog along the streets of Kuri City, of course on a leash, because he is responsible. Kiara and Adolfo. Mexico banned exotic animals in 2014. After that, a mysterious man known as Adolfo Karam began rescuing and healing big cats. Adolfo was so committed to the cause, he opened his own wildlife sanctuary and cared for the rescued cats. Kiara, who was named after the lioness in The Lion King, was one of those cats. Kiara was just a small cub when she was rescued by Adolfo, and he raised Kiara like she was his daughter. Sadly, she went to a larger facility to grow up, which parted their ways. After years had passed, it seemed that despite the pair being separated for so long, Kiara would never forget the gentleness Adolfo showed her as a little cub. Sanctuary officials were concerned Kiara might treat Adolfo like any other meat tossed into the enclosure. But that was not the case. As Kiara saw her human dad, she ran over and crash-talked her foster dad with a lot of kisses and cuddles. The bond between lion and man is strong, and love for your family never ends. Before we continue with the video, we just wanted to make sure you are subscribed. Oh, you aren't subscribed? That is awkward. Can you subscribe, please, to make sure this isn't awkward? Are you subscribed? Cool. Let's continue with the video. Brutus the bear. What comes to mind when you think of the largest land carnivore on Earth? Beastliness, dangerous, and you wanting to get away from the danger as soon as possible. Your first thought is not immediately bear bromance. When he was just 5 months old, Brutus the bear was rescued by Casey Anderson from an overcrowded wildlife park. They didn't have the room for another huge grizzly, so they were going to euthanize the poor cub. I'm glad Casey saved Brutus on time because this story has turned into a lifelong friendship. This iconic duo has been inseparable ever since day one. When you get married, you usually ask your cousin, brother, or best friend to be your best man. But Casey thought otherwise. Brutus the bear gave his blessing for his favorite human to tie the knot with his special lady, and was on his best behavior. And despite their bond, Casey still treats his huge fluffy bear with the respect Brutus deserves. After all, sometimes Brutus forgets how strong he is. Moyo the elephant. Moyo the African elephant was abandoned by her herd. She almost drowned and was surrounded by a group of hungry hyenas. But luckily, she was found by wildlife ranger Roxy Donkworts on time. Roxy took her back to the Wildest Life Sanctuary and became her new foster mother. Moyo loves her new mom and can't go anywhere without Roxy around. Well, anywhere she fits into anyways, because now she's 14 months old, and she's growing a little too big for the house and takes up most of the space on the couch. Nothing is safe from Moyo's inquisitive trunk, just like a teething puppy might chew a shoe or sock. Coffee cups, houseplants, napkins, and even food in the kitchen is not safe anymore. There are frequent accidents where Roxy secretly wishes that Moyo was toilet trained. Fagin the Crow. Weird facts. Crows are insanely intelligent. They are able to differentiate and remember human faces and are one of the few non-primate animals with facial recognition. When wildlife lover Vicky Kenward noticed Fagin the baby crow had fallen out of his nest, became injured, and was unable to return him to his parents, she took him home to care for his injuries, with the intention to release Fagin back into the wild once he grew older and stronger. Well, it seemed like Fagin had other ideas. He fell in love with his human nursemaid, and instead of venturing forth back into the world to seek out his own kind, decided that a steady diet of mealworms and crickets was too good to pass up. He's become a part of the family and only leaves Vicky's side for an expedition. He's free to come and go as he pleases, and after a day spent exploring the English countryside, returns home. Fagin doesn't realize he's a crow, and I'm not sure if Vicky walks the family dog or Fagin does. Aggie the Polar Bear. Okay, so polar bears are nothing to joke about. Polar bears are solitary hunters and masters of the frozen tundra and ice floes of the far north. You'd have to be a savage if you dared to get up close and personal with one. Such an insane person is Mark Dumas. Mark runs beyond just bears in Canada and is the only person in the world to have cuddled with a polar bear and survived to tell the story. He found Aggie when she was just 8 weeks old and raised her as if it was his own child. Sure, she gave him a few bites as a cub, but so does a puppy. The two love nothing better than to take a swim together in the pool or go star in films and TV series together. They are inseparable. The bromance between Aggie and Mark gives a whole new meaning to the phrase bear hug. Jessica the Hippo. Jessica, the humble hippo, is responsible for more people meeting a watery doom in Africa than the 20-foot crocodiles that also call the rivers home. But if you ask Tony and Shirley Jobert, they'll tell you they're not all bad because Tony and Shirley absolutely adore their pet Jessica. After finding Jessica in distress next to her dying mother on the border of the Kruger Game Park, the pair took her into their care. Tony and Shirley are park rangers. They were happily surprised to find that she kept trying to make her way back home after nursing Jessica back to health and releasing her back into the wild. So they gave in, and now Jessica sleeps in the family home and is a local celebrity, having starred in over 90 films and documentaries. Hiroyuki Arawaka and Yuriko. Some bonds between man and beast surpass that of a family pet. We've all had some pretty questionable looking exes in the past, but nothing stranger than 79-year-old Japanese diver Hiroyuki Arawaka and his lifelong companion, Yoriko the giant sheep-shed wrasse. He came across the giant fish while diving in the submerged Shinto shrine in Tateyama Bay one afternoon way back in 1992, and it was love at first sight. The fish was injured, extremely malnourished, and starving to death as a result of her wounds. Every day, Hiroyuki returned with 5 crabs to make sure she recovered, a gesture for which she is eternally grateful. He still goes back as often as he can, and for almost 30 years, Yoriko recognizes her nautical sweetheart, rushing up to meet him and presenting her bulbous forehead for a kiss. Their relationship is a rarity in the world of fish, and although there's evidence that certain long-lived species have a better than goldfish memory, scientists are still baffled by Hiroyuki and Yorikuro's love affair. Here's to another 30 years of marital bliss. Maria the Goose. There should be a movie about this one. A Man and His Goose, an unlikely friendship. Retired salesman Dominic Erler loves nothing better than to spend his now abundant free time down at the local pond at Echo Park, and this is where he met his soulmate. He named her Maria, a gray Toulouse goose. Maria decided to follow him when he was walking around the lake one day. At first, he didn't know why, as he made the point of not feeding the local fauna. But this was love at first sight, and every day Maria waits for Dominic to take his morning walk and accompanies him like a smitten lover. When it's time to go home, Maria flies behind Dominic as he rides his scooter. So now he leaves and has to tuck Maria in and make sure she's asleep before leaving the park each day, for her own safety. Let us know if you have a best friend animal in the comments. If you like this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.